When you think of acting schools, what comes to mind? Julliard, NYU, the Yale School of Drama, or even an improv company like the Groundlings or Second City? Well, one of the most famous acting schools has been in our faces the whole time, and airs on TV each week. Yep, we're talking about the WWE. With in-ring promos, backstage interviews, and over-the-top characters, the pro wrestling company has been a breeding ground for potential actors. But no one has seen more success than their star student, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Learn how The Rock transformed from a WWE champ into a box office champ, and how he almost got derailed along the way. Before we start, lay the smackdown on that subscribe button. You'll join our notification squad and be the first to know of new ScreenRant content. He stars in movies, hosts reality shows, and even has his own series on HBO. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is a lot more than just an actor. He's a megastar in Hollywood. And here he is now on the set of Hobbs and Shaw, a spin-off of the billion-dollar Fast and Furious franchise he helped elevate when he joined the production of Fast 5 back in 2011. But we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. Dwayne Johnson didn't become one of Hollywood's biggest actors overnight. It all started with a career in pro wrestling, following in his family's footsteps and completely changing the course of both the WWE and Hollywood as we know it. The Rock was obviously not the first pro wrestler to transition into a Hollywood star, but no one has had quite the same success as him. Back in the 1980s and 1990s, when wrestling was going through a major boom period, having a pro wrestler in a movie was more of a novelty. The performers would often show up as larger-than-life characters, looking to make an impact for their massive size more than their acting skills. There's Andre the Giant's scene-stealing role in The Princess Bride, Roddy Piper going over the top in They Live, and Ox Baker as a giant warrior in Escape from New York. Hulk Hogan was wrestling's biggest star in the 1980s and tried his hand at a big Hollywood career, with mild results. Before Hulkamania ran wild in the 80s, Hogan had a big role in Rocky III. After spending years focusing on wrestling, he starred in the 1989 pro wrestling-themed box office dud No Holds Barred, and had a brief cameo in Gremlins 2. Then Hogan was pretty much relegated to the straight-to-video section at your local Blockbuster. Family fare like Suburban Commando and Mr. Nanny may have entertained children under 10, but Hogan's biggest success lied in the wrestling business. While Hogan was starring in low-budget flicks and playing it up as a villain in WCW during the mid-1990s, WWE was making major changes as it ushered in the Attitude Era. After cartoonish characters like Doink the Clown and Repo Man were tossed aside, the wrestling promotion aimed for a grittier and real feeling to their programming. Enter The Rock. Well, he actually started out as a third-generation superstar, the blue chipper Rocky Maivia. A far cry from the superstar we know today, Rocky Maivia found early success in the WWE, but crowds quickly turned on him. The fans were known for famously chanting "Die Rocky Die," all while unknowingly transforming him into a heel, aka a bad guy, and creating his in-ring persona simply known as The Rock. As The Rock, Dwayne Johnson soared to new heights in the WWE, winning multiple world championships, main eventing at 4 WrestleManias in a row, and being involved in one of the greatest feuds of all time with Stone Cold Steve Austin. The Rock was helping the WWE break cable rating records on Monday Night Raw, and Hollywood execs saw something in the rising star. It wasn't so much about his in-ring performance, although great, but the character he was behind the mic. In his time during the WWE, The Rock was electric behind the mic, and fittingly so referred to himself as the most electrifying man in sports entertainment history. Along with his trademark raise of a single eyebrow, he coined numerous catchphrases including "Do you smell what The Rock is cooking? It doesn't matter," and "Just bring it." One of his more popular catchphrases, "Lay the Smackdown," was even transformed into WWE's second weekly primetime show, SmackDown Live, which still airs today and will debut on the Fox network in the fall of 2019. His natural ability shined, and he began his acting career with a few small TV roles. Following in the footsteps of wrestlers before him, Dwayne Johnson began acting by playing, what else? A wrestler. On That 70s Show, an episode focused on pro wrestling, and Johnson actually got the chance to play his father and former wrestler Rocky Johnson. The role was short and goofy, but it got him some more exposure in front of the camera. His popularity as a wrestler earned him a slot as the coveted host of Saturday Night Live, the first time for a pro wrestler since Hogan hosted with Mr. T way back in the 1980s. The episode was a huge breakout moment for The Rock, who received major critical praise for his comedic talents and acting skills in various sketches. Naturally, he would return to host 4 more times and join the elusive Five Timers Club with stars like Tom Hanks, Ben Affleck, Scarlett Johansson, and Alec Baldwin. 1 year later, Johnson made his big screen debut in 2001's The Mummy Returns. Well, at least we think it was him. Featuring some of the worst big-budget CG ever made, The Rock transformed into the Scorpion King, an ancient character whose body actually mutates into a walking scorpion with a human torso. Despite the special effects blunder, the buzz at box office numbers from the Mummy sequel was enough to warrant a Scorpion King spin-off starring Johnson. Taking some time away from the ring after WrestleMania 17, Johnson took off to Hollywood for his first big starring role. Set for release in 2002, Johnson was joined by Michael Clark Duncan and Kelly Hu for the Scorpion King. Taking place 5,000 years before the events of the Mummy films, the story follows the rise of the Scorpion King as he journeys across the desert. While filming, Johnson may have had a tougher time dropping his in-ring persona than he imagined. A famous on-set incident involving a fight scene between Johnson and Michael Clark Duncan quickly took a turn for the worse when Johnson swung his elbow, knocked the much bigger Duncan square in the jaw, and flattened him on his back. Being friends, both actors were able to laugh the incident off, and with a lot of action films on his plate in the future, Johnson managed to tone things down a little bit and prevent stunt accidents like this from happening. When The Scorpion King was released, it was #1 at the box office and managed to make over $165 million worldwide by the time the theatrical run ended. So, was The Rock a bona fide A-list actor ready to take on the masses? Not quite yet. We're still way back in 2002 here. The Rock returned to the WWE after filming Scorpion King and had one more lengthy run left in him. For his final full-time run, The Rock took on WWE juggernauts Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania 19 and Goldberg at the 2003 Backlash pay-per-view the following month. Following his loss to Goldberg, The Rock did something no one thought he would do: left pro wrestling to go to Hollywood full-time. It was certainly a risky gamble. With the WWE, he could appear on multiple shows a week and use the fanbase to promote his movies. By leaving the company, he was truly on his own. But would Hollywood accept him as a serious actor? Well, not at first. The Scorpion King proved he could be a bona fide action star, and nothing helped cement this further than a starring role in the 2003 action comedy film The Rundown. The buddy comedy with Seann William Scott featured good action, a lot of funny moments, and some classic Christopher Walken acting. But the real highlight came from a cameo by Arnold Schwarzenegger. In a scene early in the film, Johnson's character walks by Schwarzenegger in a bar. The simple head nod from the former California governor was a passing the torch moment, in an attempt to usher in Dwayne Johnson as Hollywood's new marquee action hero. It was only about 10 years too early. The Rundown was a modest success and showcased Johnson's ability to mix both comedy and action in a movie. To help him get taken more seriously as an actor, he began slowly separating himself from the Rock persona and began getting credited as Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, before fully committing to just Dwayne Johnson. But before all that, he almost had to return to a wrestling career because his box office wasn't looking so bright. Box office failures like Be Cool, Walking Tall, and Southland Tales did nothing to help Johnson rise through the Hollywood ranks. At this rate, it looked like he would be joining the Walmart bargain DVD bin with the likes of Goldberg's Santa's Sleigh or Hornswoggle in Leprechaun Origins. He even tried his hand at the risky world of cinematic video game adaptations. For years, Johnson's role in Spy Hunter was stuck in development, so long that they just featured the actor in an actual Spy Hunter video game instead. One film that did get released was Doom, an adaptation of the popular PC first-person shooter. Hated by critics and fans, Johnson's status as Hollywood's next big action star was in serious jeopardy. Thankfully, Johnson returned to his roots to save his movie career. And no, we're not talking about wrestling. We're talking about football. In 2006 and 2007, Johnson starred in back-to-back football movies. Before joining the WWE, Johnson played college football at the University of Miami, but injuries limited him from going pro. Thankfully, he could live out those dreams on the big screen. Each football movie was completely different, with only Johnson and the sport being the common denominator. Gridiron Gang was a sports drama focused on Johnson's character building a football team with troubled teens. In Disney's The Game Plan, he plays a professional football player who finds out he has a young daughter and must adapt to the situation. Both movies were critical successes and well received at the box office. Johnson essentially caught his Hollywood Hail Mary and would continue to star in future projects. Through both wrestling and acting, Johnson has always been a workhorse, and it showed with the amount of projects he took on. The Game Plan gave The Rock a great path into family films, and his next roles helped build that audience. In 2009, he starred in Disney's Race to Witch Mountain and voiced the lead character in the animated film Planet 51. We also cannot forget about his head-turning role in the fantasy family comedy The Tooth Fairy. This guy could really do it all. And then everything changed in April of 2011. The month was huge for Johnson and proved to be a true turning point in his career. He officially became an A-list actor and massive box office draw. But first, we cannot ignore his return to the WWE. After not appearing on a pay-per-view event since WrestleMania 20, The Rock returned as the guest host of WrestleMania 27 on April 3, 2011. Not only did he host to the excitement of WWE fans all around the globe, but he got involved with the main event of the night and started a feud with WWE's biggest star at the time, John Cena. Just a few weeks later, the premiere of Fast 5 came, the fifth installment of the Fast and Furious franchise. Johnson joined the massive cast as Agent Dobbs, a man looking to take down Vin Diesel's Dom and his whole crew. Johnson completely changed the franchise, added fresh new blood, and has been a part of it ever since. WrestleMania was a big success, The Rock was back to in-ring action, and Fast 5 made $86 million in its opening weekend alone. Easily Johnson's biggest box office hit yet. The box office wasn't just massive for Johnson, so was his body. Johnson has always been considered big and strong, but in 2011 he went through a transformation that we have come to visualize today. He shaved his head and goes bald 100% of the time. He bulked his body up, increasing his muscle mass with huge arms and a much stronger presence than ever before. It was noticeable on screen and in the WWE ring. He truly became The Rock, ditching the lean and fit for the true look of a bodybuilder. This newly transformed lifestyle also was heavily featured on social media, where he shared workout tips, encouraged others, and helped build up his own brand. The physical transformation and his role in Fast 5 really turned Johnson into a franchise star, as he teamed up with Channing Tatum for G.I. Joe Retaliation in 2013 and played a bodybuilder alongside Mark Wahlberg in the film Pain and Gain. Between taking back-to-back roles, Johnson would have a wrestling ring set up near his productions where he would shake the ring dust off and practice with other superstars like Brian Myers, aka Kurt Hawkins. In 2013, it was nearly impossible to head to the movie theater and not see one of Johnson's movies playing on the big screen. Along with G.I. Joe and Pain and Gain, Johnson starred in the action thriller Snitch, the action film Empire State, and the highly anticipated Fast and Furious 6, which made it clear Johnson would be a part of the franchise for the long haul. Not only was Johnson the box office champ in 2013, but he was once again the WWE champion. At the 2013 Royal Rumble, The Rock defeated CM Punk to win the WWE championship and would go on to challenge John Cena for the title in a WrestleMania rematch from the year prior. The man could not be stopped on his wild ride through Hollywood and the WWE. Well, he was derailed a little when John Cena beat him for the title at WrestleMania, but that's a whole different story. Johnson was bigger and more popular than ever. He had created a bridge from the WWE to Hollywood, and some other wrestlers began following suit. Just look at his WrestleMania opponent and crossover star John Cena. Cena had built a fame in his own right and used it to star in WWE Studios films like The Marine and 12 Rounds before branching off into the world of comedy. Cena stole the show in films like Trainwreck, Sisters, and Blockers, proving a WWE star could go into a realm other than action films. Of course, action is still extremely popular, and you'll see Cena starring in the upcoming Transformers spin-off titled Bumblebee. While Cena still wrestles on and off again, one superstar has been stepping up to challenge Johnson's box office dominance: Dave Bautista. Known as just Batista in the WWE, the star followed almost the same blueprint as The Rock to find success in Hollywood. He started out with small TV appearances on shows like Smallville and then took supporting roles in action films like The Man with the Iron Fists, Riddick, and House of the Rising Sun. Oddly, Bautista also took a role in The Scorpion King 3: Battle for Redemption, truly following in the footsteps of The Rock. His biggest breakout moment would come when he was cast in Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy as Drax the Destroyer. This skyrocketed Bautista's star power, led to roles in multiple Marvel sequels, and also allowed him to star in the James Bond sequel Spectre along with Blade Runner 2049. He truly has Johnson to thank for making Hollywood a place you can take pro wrestlers seriously in the world of movies, and not just straight-to-video releases. The Rock has certainly made his transition look easy, but the same cannot be said for other wrestlers. Take a look at Stone Cold Steve Austin. At his peak, Austin was way more popular than The Rock in the WWE, and will go down as one of the greatest superstars of all time. As a Hollywood actor, not so much. Austin has had some key roles in films like Adam Sandler's The Longest Yard and Sylvester Stallone's The Expendables, but he has mostly starred in low-budget action films like The Condemned, Hunt to Kill, and Tactical Force. The same could be said for former champion Chris Jericho. Jericho has hosted game shows, appeared in multiple sci-fi movies, and guest starred on TV, but nothing really took off in the realm of movies. It is worth mentioning that both Jericho and Austin do host successful podcasts, and Jericho has authored multiple best-selling books. The creation of WWE Studios has attempted to make stars out of other WWE superstars like The Miz, The Big Show, and Randy Orton, but those movies often stay within the bubble of WWE fandom. Dwayne Johnson is definitely more of the exception than the rule. His success even goes beyond just pro wrestlers. You could look at athletes in general. There are numerous athletes who either just play themselves in movies or parodies of themselves. Best example? Shaq. In the 90s, Shaq starred in numerous movies like the genie comedy Kazam and his own superhero flick Steel. In recent years, he was in the Adam Sandler Grown Ups movies and has had cameos in several other films. Johnson has clearly risen above his wrestling persona, where fans actually see him as the character he plays rather than just a cool wrestler or athlete in a movie. He has earned the respect as an actor. With the Fast and Furious sequel penciled in every other year, Johnson had plenty of room to take on other roles. His now massive physique helped him land the character of Hercules in the self-titled live-action film. With crazy action sequences and an outfit composed of the skin of a lion, this was clearly a far cry from the 1997 animated Disney film. Now he was a bona fide action star, box office champ, and had a majorly successful return to the WWE. So what was next? The world of television. 2015 was a jam-packed year for Johnson. Along with movies like Furious 7 and San Andreas, he debuted his new comedy show on HBO entitled Ballers. Once again returning to his football roots, Ballers follows the fictional lives of NFL players and their families. In its 5th season, the show is definitely a hit, and Johnson continues his dominance of both the big screen and the small screen. Using comedy would prove to be another big step for Johnson as he teamed up with comedian Kevin Hart for the film Central Intelligence. The Hart and Johnson team-up extended way beyond Central Intelligence, including the massive hit Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle. Distributed by Sony Pictures, the Jumanji sequel grossed over $400 million domestically and became Sony's highest-earning movie ever, even beating out the original Spider-Man. Dwayne Johnson's leading role and chemistry with Kevin Hart has a lot to do with the success. Following the movie, they took to social media, talk shows, and other guest appearances, playing off one another and becoming a true comedy duo. Okay, now you're probably asking yourself, how does he do it? How can he maintain his physique, star in multiple movies a year, make wrestling appearances, and have his own TV show? Well, it's about 14 hours a day of working and a hardcore discipline that's hard to match. Each day, Johnson gives up multiple hours of sleep to have quiet time in the morning before his hectic day starts. Plenty of workouts are planned between his job duties, and a personal chef helps making eating a healthy diet a much easier task. His diet consists of mostly fish, rice, and a mixture of low-carb meals. Oh, did we mention that he also has 3 daughters to take care of and raise? His daily routine is exhausting just to think about. It was all of this hard work and dedication which helped make him People magazine's choice for Sexiest Man Alive in 2016. The honor only helped raise Johnson's Hollywood fame further as he joined the likes of Chris Hemsworth, Adam Levine, and Channing Tatum. He followed in David Beckham's footsteps to be the second athlete to get the award. He could wrestle, he could act, he could make us laugh, especially with Kevin Hart by his side. What else can this mega star do? Well, in 2016, he showed us all he could sing. Longtime WWE fans were used to hilarious in-ring concert segments featuring The Rock, but joining a Disney animated musical was a whole different ballgame. Following the massive success of Frozen, Disney Animation Studios developed and released Moana in 2016. Playing the demigod Maui, the role helped Johnson honor his Polynesian ancestry, and his singing voice was fully showcased in the hit song You're Welcome. If you have anyone 12 and under in your house, you've probably already heard it. Now Johnson's voice and vocals are a part of the Disney marketing machine, used in stuffed animals, soundtracks, and interactive toys. There's not really an area of Hollywood Johnson has not dominated yet. Well, except for one. The world of superheroes. Sure, he did play Hercules, but we're talking flying, capes, and larger-than-life powers from the pages of Marvel and DC Comics. The actor practically looks like a hero, and it was only a matter of time before he was cast in one of these movies. Despite always playing the good guy, Johnson swerved us all and actually signed on to play a major villain in the DC movie universe. Black Adam is one of the main villains in the Shazam comics. He was rumored to appear in the Shazam movie, but unless he filmed a surprise cameo, Johnson is waiting for his own solo Black Adam movie to make his supervillain debut. If you thought he got big box office numbers before, just imagine the potential when he joins a highly successful superhero franchise. Besides superheroes, the future looks extremely bright for The Rock. In 2019, it's no surprise he has multiple films lined up and they should be huge hits at the box office. The first is Jungle Cruise, based off the Disney World ride of the same name. The second is the Fast and Furious spin-off titled Hobbs and Shaw. You can expect Johnson to stay on the sequel train for numerous movies, including another Jumanji and San Andreas 2. The sky is really the limit for Johnson. And no, we're not talking about another skyscraper movie either. Johnson loves inspiring others, and he plans to do even more by hosting the reality television show The Titan Games in early 2019. The show pits everyday athletes in competition with the Titans as they try to overcome the odds and defeat the pros. Think of the Iron Chef, but replace cooking with some high-endurance physical challenges. Becoming a reality show host is just another notch Johnson will add to his impressive resume. Dwayne Johnson will always be known as The Rock by millions of wrestling fans, but he has definitely carved out his own place in Hollywood. He will continue to make popular films and spread himself around in the world of pro wrestling, movies, and television. Clearly, The Rock's journey is far from over. What do you want to see him do next? Should he wrestle again in the WWE? Star in a movie with John Cena? Don't forget to like this video, share it, and subscribe to ScreenRant on YouTube so you can stay up to date with our awesome videos. Thanks for watching.